Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday Talk within the Nine-Sided Circle. Thanks for joining us after a couple weeks of mishaps, and we are hoping to stay on track tonight and not lose power going through this next hour with you guys. So, what do we want to say about YouTube stuff?
We want to say, who are you and why are you talking to us?
Yes, so I am one of your hosts, Nor Kyle, along with my other co-hosts.
Hi, I'm your other co-host, Mushtaq Ali.
And we do this every week. We do a talk within the Nine-Sided Circle, which allows us to share some kind of spiritual or philosophical spiel. And we leave the door open to questions, and we love to have people join us. We love for it to be a conversation rather than a lecture. And that's why we have all of our lovely comrades and students joining us tonight. And that's always fun because we got a whole bunch of people.
Can we say comrades? People will think that we're comrades or
something. I'm holding on to that word regardless, so.
All right,
I think it means friend.
Yes.
Yes. And for those of us who are watching on YouTube, thank you for, checking in with us. If you love our content, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you think it sucks, give us some thumbs down because that's always useful to some degree. Feedback for us. And we really appreciate it. We love comments too. We try to reply to every single one.
Yep, and until we get thousands of comments for each video, we will be replying to virtually every single one.
Yep.
Though it might take a day.
Exactly.
And also remember, you can share these videos with your friends. If you like us, feel free to share the videos around because it does wonderful stuff for us. And if you hate us, share us with your enemies.
Gather around, talk shit about us.
That's right. Yes, share us with people you don't like. Mm-hmm. If you don't like us, send our videos out to everybody you hate. We will vex them.
Vexing. Well worth it. So this evening we are doing the talk we had planned for last week, where we talk about the void practice, but taking it to the next level.
Yes.
Tell us more, Mushtaq. Tell us more.
We're going to talk about the void practice and take it to the next level. Now, some of you, pretty much everybody here, with perhaps the exception of Adele, knows the void practice, has done it, at least the beginning steps. We'll fill you in so you won't be left out. And most of the void practice has been focusing on the externals. We're going to give you this is a very simple technique, and for a lot of people, it works wonderfully. Some people, it doesn't work worth crap. Some people, it works really, really good. And this is about the time that we teach this. And it's very, very simple. Are you ready to learn? I see people shaking their fists at me, so I take it that's good. All right, I want you to count from 1 to 10 inside your head. Just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was easy. Everybody can do that. Now, what I want you to realize is that in order to do that, there has to be space between each thought. Between the thought of 1 and the thought of 2, there's a space. There's a void. And so what I want you to do is take that idea of 1, 2, and find that space between the 1 and the 2 and begin to stretch it out. See how long you can hold the space between the 1 and the 2. And the moment something happens to break that space, you can find the space between the 2 and the 3. And put your attention on the space between the thoughts. And let that space be drawn out for as long as you can. Staying perfectly awake, completely attentive, knowing that you're in the room that you're in, or in the space that you're in the case of some of you, and letting that stretch out. And if you let another thought come in, then notice the difference between the 3 and the 4, the space in between those two numbers. And let that stretch out. If your attention is on the space between the thoughts, then it's not on the thoughts. It's on the space. The thoughts can still be there waiting in the aisles for their cue to come on. And if you don't give them the cue, they can just sit there while you appreciate the space between them. Now, take a breath and come back to your normal thinking self. So, what do you think? That was really simple, right? Find the space between the thoughts. Let the space expand. That space can become infinite, or at least until you get hungry and have to figure out what you want for dinner.
Quick question. What about noticing our breath during that space?
What about it?
Does noticing the breath count as a new thought?
How are you noticing the breath? Did it distract you from the space between the thoughts?
I guess the attention still shifted to the breath.
Yeah, in that case, yes, that's a distraction. Now, this is not to say later on. See, when you combine this with the rest of the void practice, then it's all one thing. So let us recap very quickly the rest of the void practice. It starts by just being aware of your breath without trying to change it. You just have some attention there. And then you allow yourself to be aware of the space between your eyes. You just feel the space between your eyes. And that's literally the space inside your head between your eyeballs. And then let yourself let your hands relax and feel the space in between your fingers. Space in between there. And just for fun, let yourself be aware of the space in your neck. So you have the space between your eyeballs, the space around your hands, the space in your neck. And then notice that there's space all around you. Pay attention to the space around you rather than the objects around you. You don't have to look at them, but you can know that they're there, and you can know that the space is there. Don't look at the door frame, look at the space. Your eyes can be open as you do this, but have your attention on the space. Now, find a space between two thoughts and let that expand. Be completely present in your body, feeling all of the spaces that help you orient to your body, your breath, the space between your eyes, the space your hands surround, the space in your neck, the space around your body, and the space between your thoughts. And just let all of that be there. And if you find yourself slipping into incredibly profound meditation and becoming the Buddha, that's cool. We don't mind. And then take a breath and come back to normal consciousness. You can pay attention to the objects instead of the spaces between them for a moment. How did that feel? Do you see how that all combines into one thing? It makes a lot of demand on your consciousness. It says, use all of your awareness, not just a little bit. What do you say, Phelan?
If I focus on the individual spaces, my mind just overloads.
So focus on everything as one thing. For you, it's going to be even rougher because there's going to come a point in Bagua class where I have you focusing on the spaces that you're walking through and the spaces that your body encompasses as you go through the changes. And then your head will explode. But it's okay because we'll put it back together.
So Aaron says, I sometimes get the sensation of falling briefly.
I am not surprised.
Say more about that.
Sometimes you get the sensation of falling. That happens to me too, because my equilibrium is often predicated on knowing where the things are. And if I'm paying attention to the spaces between the things, it's like, oh my God, where am I?
Wow, that's fascinating. Yeah, it's good that you're sharing that because people may discover they experience that too. Like Aaron did.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised that Aaron would be one who notices that because that's a
and
martial artist notice.
yeah. So Adele has
Yeah.
a remark to make.
Yeah, just based on that feeling of falling, I think that as we're moving about life, we may not realize how much tension we're holding in our muscles and in our body. So like when we take the time to meditate, it's like our consciousness, that's what it is. That's what it feels like in those spaces in between. But our consciousness is like light, and it's like separating from the body. And then all of a sudden, maybe you're not like in touch with like the physical body anymore. So it's like, it feels like it's falling. You don't know where you are.
Yeah.
Mr. Keem just joined us.
Mr. Keem just joined us.
Thanks, Adele. And Aaron says, I sometimes get the sensation of, it's like gravity becomes a bit of an illusion.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had that experience. And another, I guess, I may as well insert my 2 cents here. I sometimes think about it as listening for the silence between sounds.
Yeah.
And when we do that, we realize just how much more silence there is than sound. So even if there's a lot of clattering outside and people shouting and stuff, even if it sounds like there's a constant cacophony, if you listen intently, you can see, you can hear and feel that the silence is there within those sounds. And when you listen to that, at least for me, it tends to take away some of the sharp edges of sounds that might be bothering me, let's say. So that's what I had to add. Let's call on Zoha.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Zoha. Long time no see.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy that you're here too.
Yeah, no more walking and joining.
Hey.
I think that was a great starting point for me to get into a more meditative or going internally, because thinking of the black, as we say it in graphic design, when you think of the black areas, yes, the negative areas start to make sense. So it's a good trick for me that you just taught me.
Yeah. before I ever learned this exercise from a spiritual teacher, I learned it in art class. When my teacher set us down and put out like a still life arrangement, you know, bowl of fruit and stuff, and said, don't draw the things, draw the spaces between the things. And it was a complete mind-blowing experience in a certain way to start looking at things like that. And then about 10 years later, I had one of my spiritual teachers go, I want you to concentrate on the spaces between what you see. And it's like, what? So yeah, negative space is a good doorway into this. And the negative spaces between the thoughts can be really powerful. They are for me. So with this technique, when it works for you, my experience is that it works really, really well. And some people it won't work for, or not as well.
I've also had the experience, if I close my eyes, it's a little disorienting. And if I would prefer not to have that experience, you know, you just keep them open a little bit, like we generally suggest to do. So how about Ilmar? How about you? How's this practice feeling for you?
Well, what I found is that I was noticing basically sensations in my head space coming up, and in a way they're just sensations. But then I started thinking about, well, you know, is that count as a thought or something like that coming in? And then I got caught up in a thinking cycle.
So that would be a yes then.
The thinking cycle would be a yes. Then
Yeah.
I would imagine that the sensation itself would not be. You know. Am I correct on that?
If you notice the sensation,
Yeah.
then you're liable to be having a momentary thought about it. Doesn't mean that that's bad.
Right.
It just means you have to reset yourself for, you know, just for a moment.
But is the sensation itself count as a thought, or is the thought I know about the sensation that you're referring
What perceives the sensation?
I'm sorry, what?
What perceives the sensation?
Well, I do.
Then it's a thought. If you perceive it, it's there. I mean, it's not a word, but it's a form of awareness.
Right.
So just
You're saying that anything that you're aware of counts as a thought? Is that what you're saying? Or
say that again.
are you saying that anything that you're aware of counts as a thought in your?
Anything that distracts you from what you're doing counts as a thought.
Okay.
At least that's the way I play this particular game.
That's what I was not clear on. That's when I started thinking about, what does this count as a thought or not? You know, just so in your system, I guess that anything that, when you say distract, well, yeah, okay, any object of attention that you put your attention on, then counts as a thought for you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, especially if it's narrative producing, like.
Well, that was the question. I mean, does it
Yeah.
have to be I mean, narratives are clearly thoughts in my a lot of vocabulary. But my question was whether the sensations are also counting as thoughts in your
It just has to be distracting.
Okay.
And that's going to happen. No matter what you do, that's going to happen. So you just retract from your distract.
All right.
It's the whole metaphor about clouds in the sky. You just, oh, there goes the cloud. It's gone. Back to it. You know.
Which reminds me, for the visual part of this, clouds in the sky are a great way to practice this. Pay attention to the spaces between the clouds. Watch the spaces move.
I can see Cherie going for that right now. Yeah, we just have this haze, this disgusting haze above us right now, so that won't work for us. Zainab, how about you?
About the thoughts, I actually had a question. You notice that a thought is coming and distracts you, but it also has sometimes the flavor of answers to questions.
Are you trying to find answers to questions at that moment, or are you trying to find the spaces between thoughts?
No, if it's particularly that exercise, it's you
Yeah.
want to go back to the
Yeah, even if
set.
it's the answer to the most important question in the universe, you just notice it and go back to observing the spaces between the thoughts. Because you know what? Your brain is going to trick you. Your mind is going to trick you. Your nafs is going to chatter at you. And what you're going to have to do is go, oh, that's interesting. Shut up. And then focus on what the task is. And if what you're getting is important, it'll be there when you're done.
Yeah.
But your mind will throw up all manner of distractions to this because it wants the noise.
How are you doing, Sherry? What are your thoughts?
Not overthinking anything.
Ah, then you've learned the lesson of the evening.
There's a line in my Zen style book from Japan that says, eliminate the inessential. That's how it starts in this book. And we're overthinking things. We're grasping for kind of anchors to hold us where we are, because I think we're not accustomed to just floating. I don't get the sensation of falling. I get the sensation of just floating. So, and floating just means that I'll go wherever that space is. That space feeling feels really nice. And just different practices have allowed me to explore that a little bit. It's not that I'm good or bad or anything. That's just in this moment, that's what I feel. There's a completely crystal blue sky out there. I'm viewing this through a bamboo grove. There's irrigation, water spray, making everything glisten. And it's not looking at the droplets, it's looking at the space between the droplets. It's looking in between each leaf. It's seeing something else in between, and it's finding the silence in those spaces. It's beautiful. That's all.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Who haven't we
Thanks,
picked
Sherry.
on?
Well, Mustaqim came in late, but we have not picked on him. And we have not quite picked on Aaron either, but he did offer some thoughts.
Yep. Salam, Mustaqim.
Salam, good morning.
Good
Ah,
morning.
there you are with that incredible background. I love that background.
Yeah, I try every morning to join here because I don't know, I think I like to be with you guys. So
Yay! We like having you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what did you think of this, Mustaqim?
I don't know, I think I should go back to the first part later in the YouTube to know what the practice is, but I think I have the idea about the meditation of the space, right? The space.
Yeah. Now, the way I learned this as a practice was actually using ayats from the Quran.
Yes.
Pay attention, Zainab, as well. You would start out, right? You'd get Bismillah Rahmanir Rahim. And then you have that pause after that. And then you can find the pauses between each of the words. And you begin to
Oh,
stretch them
sorry, I
out.
think
Yeah.
it's connection lost.
Yes.
Hello.
Oh, he says the connection might be lost.
Yep. So can you do it without losing the connection?
I think he meant literally.
Oh, well, damn. Here I am
Hard.
trying to make this profound spiritual thought from what he said, and
Oh. Are you there, Miss Sticky?
I think
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when Mustaq say about the pause, the screen is freeze. Strange.
God has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
By the way, how has your life been?
It's okay. Still work from home now, so it's kind of get used to it.
Yeah, is your wife tired of looking at you all day?
Yeah.
All right. Well, yes, definitely go back and check out the other video we have, which I'm sure we're going to be linking to in
Well,
the
we are going to be
description.
linking to it. I just realized because the Void Practice 2.0 that we did
Oh, yeah?
last year is not in our public library. That it's specifically for people who were in our Way of the Nomad practice.
Yeah, that's true.
So people are just going to have to go back to the beginning of this and listen to my recap of the practice.
There you go. Yeah.
Or let me know that they want me to upload that or send them a video, link to the video or things like that. And
Good.
even you, if you are a stranger to us, you can ask. We might not do it, but you can ask.
So please ask. Yeah. All right. And yeah, I mean, Aaron, as a martial artist, this probably feels very literally spatial to you. So if you have any thoughts to share further, feel free to go for it.
Yeah, one of the interesting things to do while you're rolling is to just pay attention to the voids and move into those. It can produce some pretty surprising results.
Yep. He said, yes, there's a physical component.
And for people like Adele, who likes to hit people with sticks, it's the same sort of thing. It's like, make sure your stick is moving where the other person is not. Then you get to hit them every time.
So what do you think some of the benefits of this practice are, Mishtar?
It gets you very oriented to time and place. If you are really doing the void practice 100%, you know where you are in space and time. You know what's going on around you. You are completely immersed in the present moment without having to cogitate about it. Because when you start looking at the spaces between your thoughts, then you're just here. The internal chatter gets turned off, and we like that. I mean, I don't know about you, but I get sick of listening to myself.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, there's so much chatter that can go on inside the mind, and getting a reprieve from that is a relief, especially now when we spend so much time in our little bubbles. There's not necessarily a lot of stimulation from the outside, so you're left with yourself. How do you cope with that? This is one way to not only cope with that, but to develop a really valuable ability to be viscerally present. Aaron says the stick practice has been very helpful.
Good. There is going to be more of that, by the way. We'll talk about that at the end of the talk. Who have we not picked on? We haven't picked on Adele very much.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and you're a longtime meditator. You have a lot of experience in this. Tell us what you think. Expound.
I really like the void practice. I'll admit I've been having a little bit of a challenge meditating. I find that it's easier for me to meditate when I'm actually going through difficulty. And I've been coming out of it and life has been going really well. So what happens to my energy is that it ramps up. I get kind of like hyper. And then the chatter gets louder and faster. And I've been really trying to connect back to my meditation practice. So doing this void practice actually got me there really quick. So I really enjoyed it, and I think that I'll be able to employ it, you know, because I've tried so many different ways to meditate, but it's really nice and direct.
Yeah, direct, simple, easy to do. And you don't have to sit in lotus position to do it.
I can't even do that.
I could do it when I was younger. I think if I tried to do it now, I would pull something.
Well, thankfully.
Yeah. Yep, you can do this sitting still, walking, running, bicycling, driving a car. Doesn't matter.
Right now I'm doing it while noticing that I can smell the bay coming in now.
Noticing the what coming?
The bay, like the scent of the
Ah,
bay.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, the bay is only a quarter mile away. That means you get to smell the rotting seaweed.
Yummy. Aaron's like, I know that odor. Yep. I don't mind it though. It's refreshing after this hot, sticky day.
Yeah. And the temperature is starting to drop. I just checked my thermometer and it's down to 99.
Yay. Maybe we can sleep tonight.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, any breeze is better than none, Aaron. Yeah. So any wrap-up thoughts, Ms. Schaff, about this expansion on the void practice?
Nope. Basically, just do it. Try it. If it works for you, it'll work really quickly and really well. If it doesn't work for you, we have 10,000 more practices.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've memorized the entire Vijnana Bhairava just for starts. So that's 110 practices that Shiva gave to Shakti so that enlightenment could happen.
So one practice we want to discuss is retreat.
Retreat, khalwat, we say.
Yes. Oh, okay. So first, before we transition to that, Aaron asks, does it help to fixate in any way when doing this?
I don't think so, at least not for me. But you should try it while fixating on a point and not, and see which one works better for you, because you're not me.
Fixating on a point, like
letting your attention like be aware of the space in a door frame. That's a form of fixating on a point.
Okay.
But I would experiment with it a little bit and see what works for you.
Cool. All right. So, as I was saying,
as you were saying, tell us about this retreat thing.
Yes. So, as we've mentioned in our Way of the Nomad um, series and such, we appreciate the value of doing a, we can't do this in person. We don't have a physical space. Plus, we have to quarantine and all that stuff going on because of coronavirus. Plus, distance. And we think a great way for us all to not only kind of find ways to connect with each other, but also do something for our physical well-being and such would be to do a virtual retreat. We're thinking between September 30th and October 30th, correct?
Yes, that way we don't miss
Yes.
Halloween.
Yes, we've kept that in mind because I love Halloween and I don't want to miss out. So this would involve, at least as far as Mushak and I are concerned, and anyone who wants to follow along with us, a 30-day, what do we call that, diet reset.
Yeah, a 30-day eating very, very carefully
Yeah.
in a way
Yeah.
that will reset your metabolism.
Mm-hmm.
It is not in any way going to deprive you of anything.
Yes.
We're not
Yep.
going to have to limit the amount of food that you eat. You just limit the types of food that you eat.
Yep. And this is only for the 30 days. And after that, you're free to do whatever you like, but you may find that your habits have shifted, perhaps. That's irrelevant. The fact is that the 30-day reset is beneficial in and of itself.
Yes.
And we will definitely be discussing more about that going forward. We'll probably be making posts about it. What else were you thinking we might do for the retreat?
30 days of specific meditations, 30 days of readings,
Yep.
30 days of physical practice, very simple Qigong practices designed to open up the energy gates of the body, and at least 4 group meetings on Zoom for everybody who can make it. Then will be saved and sent out to people who are outside of the time zone where they can get here. And how much do you think something like this would cost? Probably $1,000, right? But no, it will not cost $1,000. Would you believe 500? But no, it's not going to cost $500. It's not going to cost any dollars at all. This is going to be purely, if you can donate something, donate something. If you can't, it's our gift to you.
Yeah, that's how we generally prefer to do things here. We really enjoy the shared experience, and this allows us to make that possible for everyone. Yay. Aaron says, "Oh, my florins." Thanks, Aaron.
We could use some florins, but you keep a few for yourself. Unless you're going full monk. Then in which case we would be happy to take your worldly possessions off your hands so that they do not trouble you anymore. I am taking the tongue directly in my cheek, by the way.
Yay, Adele says that sounds awesome. I'm so glad to hear that there's interest in this because, we need to do this for ourselves and we would love to have other people come along for the ride. I think it would be really wonderful. Yay. So we have that to look forward to, and we will be sending out more information on that on our mailing list and posting in the Facebook group and such. I'm sure we'll mention it in the next couple of talks. So we want to make sure that everyone who might be interested gets a chance to find out about it.
Yep, and it will be a retreat that you can do while still being in the world. As we say, it is Halwat Daranjuman, which means solitude or retreat while in the crowd.
So we have a question from Adele who's asking, can you elaborate really quick though on the limitations of the diet?
Basically, you are going to remove all processed foods, all complex or all simple carbohydrates and most complex carbohydrates outside of vegetables. And there's a few other things, but all the meat you want. Meat is your friend.
Adele's like, yes.
Yeah. All the good
Yeah.
cheeses. Yeah. Basically, for you, Adele, it's kind of a keto diet, but it's a very
Yeah.
specific one.
Okay.
And it's only for 30 days, but you'll feel really good at the end of it. I don't know anybody who hasn't felt really good so far.
I've done it, yeah. I mean, I definitely feel more energized and more mentally sharp. I also find that I feel less dependent on, you know, comfort foods and things like that. So,
Yeah. But I will tell you that you can stay on this diet for a month and eat like a king. You will not feel like you have had to sacrifice anything in the way of really good food.
yeah, I mean, you may find you need to eat more. You never
Yeah.
know. Yep.
So there will be times during the 30-day retreat that we do fasting, intermittent fasting though. So fasting from
Yes.
when you wake up in the morning until sundown, which is a traditional way to do it.
Yep. So Zoha asks, does protein powder count as a processed food?
Does it have sugars in it? If the answer is yes, then yes, it counts as a processed food.
She says it does not. But are we talking about sweeteners in general?
We are talking about sweeteners in general. You can use a little bit of stevia. Stevia is a natural leaf from a plant. You can sprinkle some stevia leaf on your food if you want it to be sweet. You won't use milk or half and half, but you can use heavy cream in your coffee, which, let me tell you, is so much better.
Adele asks about monk fruit. I mean, I think that works
monk
too.
fruit is great.
Yeah,
monk fruit is fine. I would stay away from any of the sugar alcohols, like erythritol and things like that. Those are not so good, but stevia and monk fruit, if they don't have the erythritols in them or the xylitols, are fine.
Aaron asks about goat milk. Yeah, goat milk is perfectly cool.
Goat milk, actually, no.
Wait.
30 days.
Really?
Goat milk in general is very, very cool for most people, but goat milk contains a fair amount of lactose. Lactose is a sugar.
All right. We're going to have to review this, which we're going to be doing anyway. Because
everybody is going to get a PDF file of how to work the reset. And this is something that we recommend all of our students do once a year anyway. And October is a great time to do it because we're coming up on Halloween, which is the day between the worlds, the day where, you know, you move from one phase into another. It's a good time.
Yep. Preparing for that.
Yeah.
Could be meaningful. Yeah. All right. I think that's about all I got.
That's all I got too. But so let's say goodbye to the public out here, and I'm going to stop the recording, and then we will go back to Brady Bunch mode to have any last final questions. So, bye, y'all.
Bye. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys next week.